Hey viewers, welcome back to the e-learning platform of the GS College of Commerce, Wardha. I am Professor Humaira Kazi and we will have today the monetary economics for the BCom 4th sem. In the earlier video, we have started our second unit, and the second unit basically deals with the e-banking and the different concepts which are related with the e-banking. Okay, we will see today the credit card and meaning as well as the advantages and the disadvantages of the credit card. So what is basically the credit card? As the credit card is concerned, it's just like the debit card. It's a card which is of the plastic, made with the plastic. But when we are talking about the credit card, it is actually a limit which is actually issued to the individual for the which is issued to the individual. That limit is granted. It's a kind of a short-term loan which is actually granted to the individual so for making the purchase or for the withdrawal of the money. Okay, so in that basically a certain amount of the limit is fixed, which is called the credit limit, which is issued to the credit card holder. And the credit cards are basically of the different categories. One is the standard credit card, which is used simply extend the line of credit to the individual, and whereby we can make the payment for the purchases to the merchants, as well as the balances can be transferred or the withdrawal can be made. Similarly, the reward cards, under the rewards card, basically the different cashback offers are provided to the customers based on how they spend the money. And the secured credit card, basically in that type of the credit card, the certain collaterals are taken from the individual, and in that basically the limit is fixed. Limit up to the certain fixed limit, the certain collaterals are taken. Normally the fixed deposits are used for the secured credit card, and the charge cards have the no preset spending limit but often do not allow unpaid balance to carry over from months to months. Okay, now we will see the advantages of the credit card. Basically it builds the credit history. If an individual has the credit card and he makes the purchase via the credit card and he repays the outstanding amount to the financial institution on time, along with the interest properly, then it increases his credit scores, and this score actually builds the credit history of an individual, which is helpful further for the different types of the loan which can be granted to such an individual who has the strong credit score. Then the warranty and the purchase protections. Various types of the credit cards give the different warranties and purchase protections and insurance facility to its card holder. The fraud protection, basically if the fraud is taken place and loss in the credit card, this loss is normally restricted to up to a certain limit of the credit, not more than that. So it's protected from the frauds also. As far as the disadvantages of the credit cards are concerned, the spending can lead to the debt. Basically, see what happens in the debit card, it is the individual's own money which he spends. But in the credit card, basically, it is the money which is granted to an individual, and this money which is granted to the individual is actually a borrowed money. It's a loan, and if an individual spends it, it actually makes him, it actually traps him in the debt trap. So spending actually actually increases further spending, and the debt is also mounted to an individual. The credit scores impacts if the payments are made properly on time, then there will be the favorable credit score. But in case if the payments are not made and of the outstanding, so it adversely affect the credit score of an individual, which which then generate the credit report, and it has the harmful effect to a harmful effect also. The individual has to pay the interest as well as fees for the use of the credit cards also. So these are the disadvantages related with the credit card. Now we'll see the difference between the debit card and the credit card. So in case of the debit card, it is the funds of an individual which he can utilize, but in case of the credit card, it is actually the borrowed fund, which is actually in the form of the short-term loan which an individual can utilize. So the source of funds is basically the saving account. In case of debit card, is the source of fund is actually the saving account and the current account which an individual has. But in case of the credit card, it is actually the fund is actually granted by the financial institutions to the individual, which is in the form of the short-term loans. Spending advantages. A debit card holder can spend as much amount of the money which he wish to spend. But in the case of the credit card, the limit is fixed, and up to that limit only the individual can spend the money. So who pays the purchase? When individual makes the purchase via the debit card, individual pays from his money. But in case of the credit card, basically the company who issues the credit card pays the money to the vendor for the purchase, and then the individual pays back the money to the credit card company. Interest, normally no interest is paid to the debit card because it is the individual's own money. But in case of the credit card, whatever the outstanding balance, on the outstanding balance, the individual has to make the make the payment of the interest. Okay, limits to the fund that can be accessed, that much amount which is there in the saving account or the current account of an individual, that can be accessed by the individual. But in case of the credit card, basically the individual has the preset limit, and up to that preset limit the individual can withdraw the fund or he can use the funds. Rewards are minimum in case of the debit card, but in the case of the use of the credit card, the maximum rewards are there, and these rewards are related with the cashback services, cashback, and these rewards points are redeemed for the further use. The privileges are less with the use of the debit card, or we can say does not have the many privileges. But in the case of the use of the credit card, there are the many privileges. These privileges are related with the dining and the dinings, similarly the entertainment and travel privileges which a card holder can enjoy. So these are all related with the debit card and credit card difference. The gist is that in the case of the debit card, it is the money of an individual which he can utilize. The rewards are minimum, the privileges are minimum, there is no need to pay the interest. But in case of the credit card, this is the borrowed fund, and the limit is fixed. Up to that amount, that the fixed limit, the individual cannot spend much amount. Interest is to be paid on the use of the credit card or the outstanding balance. Similarly, there are various rewards which are associated with the use of the credit card, so that the individual can spend more money with the credit card. the privileges are less with the debit card and the privileges are more with the credit card. So here we had discussed the credit card and the differences between the debit card and the credit card. In the next video lecture, we will discuss the different terms which are related with the e-banking. So thank you for the today's lecture.